It's a new era, a different league. The United Rugby Championships are sponsored by Vodacom. No more Super Rugby. It's URC. Zebre against the Lions. Friday night. Then we've got the Bulls against Leinster. We've got the Sharks against Munster. And in the afternoon, we've got the Stormers up against Benetton. And we know about Benetton. We wrote them off. We laughed them off in the Rainbow Cup, and they hammered the Bulls 35-8. Zalanel with me from SA Rugby, and Ollie Keohane from keo.co.za. Hello, my boy. Nice introductions.
Who you met?
The thing that's made us laugh already, the odds. Betway's odds.
That can't be real, surely.
18-1 on the Sharks, 17-1 on the Bulls. You know, the Currie Cup champions are slightly favoured. But, yeah, I think the Stormers and Lions have the best shot this weekend, according to...
Well, but hang on a second. You 18-1. I mean, that's a bit silly.
Yeah, well...
Well, you're either going to lose your $100 or you're going to be a very happy camper, aren't you? So, correct me if I'm wrong here, but the rule of sensible betting is when someone throws an 18-1 odd, you take it.
Well, it's more if there's a 50-50 coin toss, and if you look at the fact that it is the start of the tournament, no one really knows what's going to happen. So you could deem this a 50-50. You know, Currie Cup champions coming up against Leinster. Exactly. And if you can get 18-1 on a 50-50, then you take the 18-1, you know. It's a different story if it's without a doubt that, you know, Bulls, all their players injured. There's no chance they're going to win, whatever. But funnier things have happened, you know.
And also this Bulls side now, the way... It's a very different side that Jake has taken to the one that went and lost to Benetton. A lot more confidence. The likes of Marcel Coetzee, who's playing well, Johan Goosen, who's playing well. Bismarck du Plessis is going to add huge value. I mean, he's come straight from France to the farm, got the call while he was on the track there, and he's back. And I saw some of the visuals this week. He's chomping at the bit. He's in the gym. But that guy's still a machine. And you've got someone like Jan-Hendrik Wessels who's going to play in tandem with him. 38,500 people. That is the pick game in the first weekend of URC. Is Leinster, the defending champions of the old pro rugby, up against our double Currie Cup champions, our Super Rugby unlocked champions, the Bulls. You've got to say it's going to be a great game. 38,500 people there. A couple of South Africans in the crowds. I know Dan van Zyl will be there.
There you go.
He's been there for many years, as old Dan in Ireland. Still wears his bok on the right side. But laden with internationals, and I think that's why those odds are so big. But this isn't a bad Bull side.
No.
Yeah, it's a Bull side that's also hasn't really had the luxury of many Springboks for the last 2 years when they've had to play, you know. So Jake's actually built a squad up of sort of ex-Springboks, very good Super Rugby players and stuff that they've been able to compete without sort of worrying about the loss of any international guys, you know. So I think that definitely plays a big role in the psyche too.
Sure.
When you've got these younger guys and, you know, these sort of more experienced kind of fringe international players that have now gone and won how many Currie Cups, you know.
I don't think anybody is sort of saying that the Bulls should be the favourites. We all agree that Leinster should be the favourites. But one thing we've learned over the last couple of years is it's a system that gets you wins more so than individual players.
Yeah.
And so, and Jake's built a great system at the Bulls, and they are on the up. Yes, they got smashed at Benetton. But one thing South Africans really enjoy is being the underdog. And 18-1 is, I mean, it's a giant carrot for us. I mean, we just have to come within the Bulls. If they finish within 7 points, that's like a moral victory.
Look, I also think, though, and the audience needs to understand this, because knowing South Africans and South African rugby supporters, we struggled in the first fortnight over there. It's all doom and gloom. It's, we should never have gone north. We're no good. We have no current internationals. We have 45 players. 20 of them do play overseas, so they're for overseas-based clubs. We've got 25 current Springboks who can't play in this tournament until the end of December.
Yeah.
So we need to accept that. It's an 18-round competition. For the last 10 rounds, we will have all those players available. And a lot of our home games coincide with those players becoming available. So I'm still hell of a confident that 2 of the 4 South African teams will be there or thereabouts when it comes to the top 4, top 6 of this competition. And I do see the Bulls and one of the Sharks or the Stormers kind of like being there. And a Lions side with the capability of knocking over 1 or 2 of the bigger teams when they do come and play at altitude, which is going to be a new experience for a lot of those guys.
Absolutely.
So we look at the odds and say it's ridiculous that the odds are so big. The bookies may say we could put it at 90-1. It's an Irish team basically playing a Bulls team.
Right, the island team, yeah.
It's an island team for Munster playing against the Sharks. A Sharks team that's devoid of 12, 13 players at the moment.
Sure.
I just think it's going to be a wonderful introduction for our players to Northern Hemisphere rugby. They're there for a month. They will grow on that tour. They'll get more comfortable playing in front of crowds. And while the results obviously are important, I think we will see improvements over the first 2-3 weeks from the South African teams, and I think we're going to see more wins over the course of the month than a lot of people up north are predicting.
Well, I mean, at least with the URC, we know that there's the potential for some great rivalries to kind of be born out of this competition. Whereas with Super Rugby, if we were about to go into another season of Super Rugby, we'd be saying we know exactly what's coming.
Well, I think that's a good point. Is it's like you got to remain aware that it is a long tournament, but it's also now, this is where we've hedged our bets, like up north for the next couple of years. This is the inaugural sort of season, so people also need to understand that it's not another season of Super Rugby. So to be making sort of like fleeting statements a month into what is going to be the first of hopefully many seasons would be silly. You need to kind of just take it for what it is in this first season.
And 18 rounds is a hell of a long time, eh? And there's going to be ebbs and flows in this tournament. And again, by the time they come here, end of December into January, playing in South Africa in the summer, playing at altitude in the summer, and with the potential of us having crowds back again, it's going to be fantastic then. And you may see a South African team that's placed 8th, 9th, by March, they've placed 3rd or 4th again in the league or in the second on the table. But there's a lot of respect for the Bulls over there and what they've achieved and the kind of squad that Jake has built. I think tournament-wise, the Bulls are our banker.
No, absolutely.
I'm just hoping, I mean, Zels, you would know better than me. You've had a lot to do with the Stormers over the last couple of years. Surely there's got to come a time where they come good.
Well, I mean, when those guys get their Springboks back, I mean, it changes things radically for them. At the moment, it's a bit of a skeleton crew. But I mean, they've made some moves to get playmakers in. They've got Marnie Libbok that they've added now.
Brock Harris.
Yeah, Brock Harris has come back, adding a bit of experience there. He's obviously travelled overseas quite a bit. I'm a big Sergio Peterson fan. You've got Warwick Galant in the mix. So Rikus Pretorius is the youngster who's really pushing. So you've got to feel like the Stormers will come back. If they return to their sort of defensive resilience that they've mastered over the last decade or so, then they really had a reputation for defense. They're a team that on the break, on turnovers, are deadly. So it's just about creating that platform of defense again, and that comes from having a set piece that's strong. You get Francois Haber back, you get Stevie Kitsoff back, and things will change there. So let's see.
What are you looking for, guys, in this first weekend from the 4 South African teams?
Well, go, Ollie.
I think what we sort of want is the guys to go over and for there to be a contest from the get-go, regardless of the results. I think as South Africans, we were all very disappointed when the Bulls went over to Benetton and it looked like they sort of just went to Italy and rolled over. And you kind of want that, even though they are playing international players in their first game, they don't have their box or whatever, you want them to go over and sort of make a little, just show a little bit of attitude, show a little bit of style and sort of grit and kind of like kick the competition off with some good South African rugby,
Yeah, make a game of it. I mean,
make a game of it, exactly. Yeah, you don't want the sense, first week in where it's just like, okay, well, here's how the tournament's going to go. We're going to sit here because of this. I mean, it'd be premature to say that, but you want a bit of a contest.
Yeah, and I think there are opportunities for us to catch them cold in the same way that it's going to be an adjustment for the South African teams to deal with Northern Hemisphere referees, Northern Hemisphere conditions, and teams that are systematically very well organized in Europe. It's going to be interesting how they absorb the South African psyche in terms of our defense, our attitude in defense, the way that we've taken strides, especially with the Sharks in the kicking game and the counter-attacking game. It's going to be quite interesting to see how those teams adapt to us. So I think there will be opportunities for us to catch a few teams cold, and that's why I'm surprised that these odds are so heavily stacked in favour of the home teams, because they're for matches that have never been seen before.
But what I do like, and you said over the next 18 to 36 months, we're going to start getting those rivalries going.
Yeah.
And once we have full strength South African sides playing against full strength Celtic sides and the Italian sides, to have a Munster playing against the Bulls or a Leinster playing against the Sharks in Durban, and it's 12 Springboks up against 12 Irish guys, that's really going to give this tournament the kind of kickstart that it needs. But I think it's a fantastic tournament. We've been calling it for the last couple of years, saying go north. If you can't go into Europe straight up, if you can't go into an expanded premiership that includes those teams, Pro Rugby, now the United Rugby Championship, was definitely the route to go. And Irish rugby has, for the last 5-6 years, been hell of a strong. Munster have this wonderful history. Leinster have been the crusaders of the north in many respects. I'm hugely excited, and I think South Africans need to embrace this tournament and actually see it for what it is. A tournament that's going to allow a lot of youngsters to showcase their skills, but a tournament that plays out long enough that we have those 10 weeks and those 10 rounds that your Test Springboks can come back in and play an influential role and be very definitive to a playoff outcome, and then have a final where all your players are available as well. And I think it's going to bode well for us moving forward when the Boks go on those end of year tours and that kind of thing.
Look, it makes rugby as a sport in South Africa a lot more global than it ever was, you know, which is all you can kind of ask for, is that you're moving towards. And it's like, we talk about the international results too. When you're getting contests and you're getting teams beating other teams that you wouldn't expect, it's better for the game. You know, I know you joked and said, well, it doesn't matter if it's better for the game, you still don't want to lose as a Springbok supporter, but it's if we've got guys over there playing European sides all the time, we've had years of playing Southern Hemisphere guys, we're still going to play them internationally, you know, in the Rugby Championship every year. It's great for, like you said, for our players to be getting that sort of exposure to these different styles of play, to these different players in different countries.
And it positions South Africa very uniquely to actually get the best out of Europe and the best out of the Southern Hemisphere. We're in a great position here to really cherry pick the learnings from playing Southern Hemisphere rugby against the All Blacks and taking on Leinster in Ireland. I mean, it's a golden opportunity for South Africa.
It certainly makes us potentially the most rounded team going into World Cups, which are still the pinnacle of professional rugby. Your national team plays to win a World Cup ultimately, not to win every tournament in between World Cups. So let's also not lose sight of that. But just going back to this weekend, I see the Lions on their Twitter feeds and the Instagram feeds. They're loving the Italian cuisine.
Oh, that's
which
a problem,
always worries me.
That's a problem.
I remember seeing the Bulls on the gondolas, and I don't know what they were drinking that week, but they looked like they hadn't woken up into like the 50th minute. So nice that they're embracing it. I think their kind of style of play and this being very loose and kind of not really knowing what to expect from them may catch a couple of these guys on the hop. So I'm picking the Lions to
surprise themselves,
to win against Zebra, and I'm picking the other South African teams to come close. I don't see the Bulls beating Leinster, not just at this juncture without 2 or 3 other influential players. But I certainly don't think it's going to be an 18-1 walkover. And I'm picking the Stormers to come good. So I would say it's a Stormers-Lions win for me this weekend.
Wow.
And I will go with the 2 Irish Giants, but I don't think by a hell of a lot. Lads?
Were you, Ollie?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of standing in agreement with you there. I'm just still not convinced.
Thanks. Still
not convinced about the Stormers. It's just been a bit of a shambolic last 2 years. So I can't really give them the benefit of the doubt going straight in. So I feel like the Stormers aren't gonna take it away.
Okay, so you've got it, what, 1 from 4? I've got it 2 from 4, and you've got it 0
I'm
from 4.
going to go 2 from 4.
I also 2.
I'll take the Stormers, because I think there's a chance that Benetton are like, you know, we've beaten the Bulls. Who really cares who's coming? I think the Stormers could catch Benetton. I don't really think the Lions are going to catch Zebra. You know, Jake's team went over and won in Christchurch with 11 players. Didn't they get 4 red cards or something stupid? So I'm going to back the Bulls to surprise Leinster.
Put down $1,000, you'll get 18,000 rand. You won't have to come to the office on Monday.
Take the week off, mate.
We'll be doing the Monday show via Zoom. You'll be on the beach giving us the what were the odds?
The dollar bill tuxedo.
All right, so Zels is going Bulls win and Stormers win, eh? Yes. Okay, interesting. Vodacom United Rugby Championships. This is our first show. Monday we will be back and we'll be chatting about that first weekend, and we'll be a lot wiser after that. Ollie, thanks. Zals, thanks. 17 and 18-1. Go to Betway, guys, and just put your money down there. And even if it's only $100, say I'm prepared to lose that $100 because the potential of getting 17 or 18 times that amount is certainly worth it. That's being responsible if you got that. Thanks, chaps.
Nice one.
All right.